depending on how this question is asked, often dictates how I choose to answer it.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast.
Minisode.
Hey, welcome everybody back to the program. Dustin Harris hanging out with you. Sponsored today by ANow Software. ANow, of course, is the software that I'm using every day to manage my appraisal business, every aspect of it. ANow.com is where you go to find out more. Folks, this program was created by appraisers for appraisers. It's ANow.com, ANOW.com. I want to talk today about the 5 top questions that I am asked by agents and how I answer them. Now, I will tell you this. I would assume that most of these questions, if not all of these questions, would be the exact same questions that you get as well. These are very typical questions that are asked typically at the inspection. So I go to the inspection, the agent meets me there, and for whatever reason, he or she feels the need to ask certain questions. These are the most common questions that I get. I assume they're the same kind of questions that you get as well. Now, my answers might be different than your answers, but I'm hoping that as we explore things today together, that what I have to share might help in your answers, or maybe not. More importantly, I'm hoping that you can comment down below this episode and help me with some better answers of these very, very typical questions. Going to handle a couple of them up front, then we're going to break for a sponsor, and then we're going to hit the other 3 when we come back from the break. So imagine you are in the inspection and you see a car drive up and it's got the magnetic signs on the side and it's agent so-and-so from such and such real estate agency. And you think, okay, here it comes. They get out of their car and they come up to the door and, oh, I'm so glad you're still here. I was hoping I could bend your ear a little bit. And they have a stack of papers in their hands, right? Okay, we've been there. We've all done that. More often than not, the way this happens is my office will call and set up an appointment, and the agent just insists that they want to be there, so they need an exact time or at least a text before I get there. I like to give windows of time, so I'll be there from 9 to 11, but we can text you 20 minutes before he gets to the property, right? And let's face it, there's a lot on the line here. I have to say to my agent friends, I respect the fact that you want to be there and talk to the appraiser. I get it, okay? Now, is it possible that I could take offense at sometimes being told how to do my job? Of course, we've all been there, appraisers, we've seen it. It's frustrating, right? But I don't take offense when an agent wants to show up and be there, okay? And I don't even take offense at any of these questions. They are simple questions that an agent is worried about, and there's a professional and a right way to answer them. Now, there's a sarcastic and mean way to do it too, and I actually mix a little bit of that in there, honestly. I believe that humor goes a long way in helping to break the ice in an uncomfortable situation. Humor can do a lot, and so sometimes I actually am a little bit snarky, and I do it on purpose, but I do it. If you could see my wink and nod when I do it, you would know that it was all done in fun. Okay, question number 1, right? Some form of, do you think we're going to have a problem? Okay, in other words, do you think this is going to come in low? Now, depending on how this question is asked, often dictates how I choose to answer it. For example, do you think we will have a problem? I know what they're asking, but with a very sly grin, a little bit of a wink, and a little bit of a smile, I might say, I don't see any problems. Okay? And then I might follow up with, oh, do you think it's going to come in lower than the purchase price? Well, I don't know that yet, right? I've still got a whole lot of work. In fact, a lot of times what I'll say is this is the easy part, right? A home inspector and an appraiser have 2 different types of inspections. A lot of times we'll go through a property in, 20, 30 minutes. And an agent will just be dumbfounded and think, wow, how much money did you earn? Or a homeowner, gee, how much did I pay for that? And so I make it very clear that that's the easy part. All I'm doing right now is data gathering, okay? We have a whole lot more work. In other words, I refuse to answer the question. Now, I might give them some statistics, and I've actually done the statistics, okay? Statistics in my office are such. About 92% of all appraisals that we do for purchases come in at or above the purchase price. Okay. Now, maybe I should admit that, but I'm just going to lay it out there. I'm a pretty open guy. Okay. About 92%, meaning 8% come in below the purchase price. Now, that doubles when it is a for sale by owner. About 16% of the for sale by owners come in lower than the agreed upon purchase price. Now, usually when I get asked this question, I make it very clear. Do you think it's going to come in low, Mr. Appraiser? I say only if your purchase price is too high. And then we laugh. And then I explain, coming in low If you're saying come in lower than the agreed upon purchase price, well, yeah, there's a possibility. I'm going to come in at what I feel the market can support. Now, I'm going to consider the offer on the table. I'm going to bring that into my analysis, but in the end, the home is worth what it's worth, and that's what I'm going to report. So that's how I answer question number 1. Question number 2, here are some comps, Mr. Appraiser, and the price per square foot are higher than the subject. In other words, here's some great quote-unquote comps that are selling for even more than this one's selling for. Therefore, this one should be at least worth what we're asking. How do I answer that? Well, you've heard my episode, and if you haven't, go back a couple of weeks. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about price per square foot. I would highly recommend you listen to that podcast, but basically it comes down to this. And I do say this. And again, I say it very non-offensively. I say it very lightheartedly, okay? They know I'm somewhat joking, but I'm also somewhat serious. And I might say to them, price per square foot for a home is like selling a car per pound. And then we kind of laugh a little bit, and I explain why price per square foot really doesn't apply very, very well to what I'm doing. Education. When the question's asked, don't brush it off. Don't say something sarcastic and move along. Educate and help the agent understand. My goal in the next couple of seconds to help you understand how essential ANOW is for your appraisal business. Folks, before ANOW, I would still work on my business, but I spent a great deal, exorbitant amount of time trying to crunch the numbers and get prepared to even look at what my business was doing. Now, I sit down on my computer and I pull up ANOW software, and I click this button and I click that button, and I know exactly where we're at. In fact, as of this recording, it is the 2nd of the month, and yesterday I just jumped in and realized that we had another record-breaking month. We have never done so much business as we did last month, and I knew that within seconds. That's ANOW software for you. ANOW.com, ANOW.com. Welcome back to the program, every one of you. Thank you for listening. We're talking today about the top 5 questions that I get asked by agents and how to answer them. Question number three, what is the market currently like? Now, this is a very vague question, and I actually, in my answer, typically say, well, that's kind of a vague question. The market in general is up, or the market in general is pretty stable, or the market in general is declining, okay? But I make it very clear, because what they're asking and what they're asking are not the same things. You know what I mean? What they're thinking in their head and what comes out of their mouth are two different things. By saying, what is the market currently like? Really what they're asking is this appraisal going to be okay? Right? That's really what they're asking. Hasn't the market been really good? Right? Just support me here, right? I want to hear it out of your lips, Mr. Appraiser. I want you to say that the market's been good, because that's going to help me sleep better at night while I'm waiting for your report to be turned in. Okay? So I answer that question, and it really reverts back to the first question that we asked today of, do you think it will come in low? Now, I'm going to talk in general about the market, and I'm going to educate a little bit on how each neighborhood is different and how each property is unique, right? You can have an overall increasing market in the city, but this particular neighborhood could be stable or even declining. You could have a stable or declining market within a neighborhood and have a home that for whatever reason has come way up in value. And so I take a few minutes to explain that and educate. What is the market like currently? Well, hopefully you know the answer to that, right? Hopefully as an appraiser, you can answer them truthfully because you know that the market's been up 3% in the last 2.5 months, okay? If you know that, if you've done your homework and then educate them on what they're really trying to ask, you're going to get a lot more mileage. Number 4, can you call me if you're running into problems? Okay, you've heard this question, right? Agent meets you at the property. So can you give me a heads up if you're running into problems? Okay. Now, the answer to this is yes. Okay. I know that's going to shock some of you. What? You can't call the agent. Why not? Show me where I can't call the agent. And I make it a common courtesy, especially if they've asked, if I'm quote unquote not, they say running into problems. To me, it's not a problem. Okay. To them, it might be a problem. But if the value cannot be supported with the comps that I'm finding, I have no problem calling up an agent, especially a listing agent, and saying, hey, let me ask you a question. I'm working on the appraisal for 123 Any Street. I know that you priced it at a certain value, a certain price, I should clarify. Can you talk to me about where that price came from? Have you done a CMA? What comps did you look at? I would be interested to look. Now, you don't need to go into any more detail than that. And they might want, oh, no, is there a problem? No, there's no problem. I'm just curious where your price came from. That conversation is had by me and an agent on a regular basis. That's number 4. Number 5, can you give me a copy when you are done with the appraisal? Okay, very simply. Now, this is typically asked by a homeowner. Okay, I've been asked by agents as well, but I give the agent the same answer that I give a homeowner, right? Similar. Homeowner, a borrower, as the case may be. Maybe not homeowner, but borrower, okay? The borrower, the buyer, or those doing the refinance, I typically say. No, but the good news is by law, you get a copy at closing. If you go through with the loan and you get to closing, you should get a copy of the appraisal. Now, when it comes to the agent is different, okay? I will give a copy to the lender, and the lender will do what they need to do at that point. These are the 5 top questions that I get asked by agents on a regular basis. My question is, what questions do you get that I haven't covered? And more importantly, what answers do you give that would be different, better than the answers that I gave? Please comment below. Thank you for listening. And I wanted to tell you really briefly about a great service that we are now providing, and it is accountability. Accountability with the coach. On a monthly basis, I have an opportunity to have a phone call with you, about a 20 to 25 minute phone call. This will be you and I strategizing. This will be you and I talking about your business, your goals, what you set, how you are accomplishing them, me keeping your feet to the fire and helping you to set goals for the next month as well. Now, the caveat is you must be a member of the Dream Team or had recent coaching from me. This is not coaching, this is accountability. So you've had to have had either coaching through the mastermind or through one-on-one coaching, but it is a great opportunity for you to get followed up on. It's on my website. You can find it on the coaching side of things at theappraisercoach.com.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.